What's going on, everybody? Welcome to West Nale Virus. I am your host, Caleb Nale. Joining me, the other host, Josiah West. We make the West Nale Virus. Not to be confused with West Nile Virus. It's West Nale Virus. Josiah, we got out the episode late, or the Wednesday episode, so apologize, everyone, on that. But if you'd like to go see our reactions to the college football playoff rankings, go check that one out. How you been, man, the past couple days? How's everything been going?
Oh, stuff's been going pretty well. Pretty well. Excited for college football this weekend, and excited to be getting closer to Christmas season.
Oh, don't skip Thanksgiving, please. Do not.
I'm not skipping it. I'm just excited for Christmas. I'm just more excited for Christmas than the current season that we're in.
Oh my gosh. We just finished harvest over here, so we're excited to celebrate the harvest that we just finished. That's what Thanksgiving's all about.
Well, I didn't have harvest, Caleb. I didn't harvest anything at college.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow us on former Twitter, now called X. I'm there, Caleb _Go Dogs, Josiah's there, Josiah _WNV. We're both there at West Nale Virus. Nale, Nale, by the way. What did you dress up as for Halloween? Last question before we get started, because we have a packed show to get to.
This may disappoint you, but I did not. I did not
Bro,
get a costume
what?
this year.
Are you Jehovah's Witness? You don't celebrate anything. You want to skip I mean,
look,
they don't celebrate Christmas though.
Right. Well, I'm celebrating Christmas, but I just didn't have any reason to dress up. Like I didn't have any reason to. There was nothing for me to do, so I just stayed home and we watched a movie, and that was it.
I dressed up as the man in the yellow hat from Curious George. My 1-year-old loves Curious George, so he dressed up as Curious George as a monkey, and I dressed as the man in the yellow hat, and we had a good time.
That sounds awesome. That sounds
all right. Let's get to the show. I got the verse of the day today, and then we have a long slate of college football picks and our upsets because we did not do that. And then we will talk about Thursday night football and some other things thrown in there. Of course, Yeovil Town update. But first, Hebrews 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Our daily reminder to seek the Lord our God and have faith in him, because without faith, it is impossible to please him. All right, Josiah, I'm pumped for this slate of college football this weekend. I will say there's not as many top 25 matchups as usual because we've been spoiled this year with lots of good top 25 matchups, but there's a lot of good games. Starting with last night, Duke Wake Forest, Riley Leonard did not play. Their freshman quarterback played this game. It was a close game. It came down to the last 2 seconds where Duke kicked a field goal to beat Wake Forest, 24-21. Wild game. Texas Tech beats TCU last night in a close one, and then Troy beats up on South Alabama. Tonight's games are Boston College, Syracuse, Colorado State, Wyoming. I don't have anything other to say about these games other than that if I'm going to pick a game I'm watching Colorado State, Wyoming. I think it's going to be more exciting, to be honest.
That's fair.
But Boston College, Syracuse probably means more in the ACC. Not tonight. Saturday's games, Josiah. We'll just jump right into the preview of these games and our picks, and then we'll get to our upsets, and then we have some news concerning the Pac-12, of course. First game, of course. Since this game is catered towards the Central Valley in Fresno, go Dogs, baby, and in the Georgia area. Mm-hmm. We're going to start with this 2 games first. So Boise State is coming to town. Big game in Fresno. Both teams 3-1, the Mountain West. This is usually the winner of this game plays in the Mountain West Championship, and it's likely going to happen again because Boise State beat Wyoming. Yeah, the winner of this game will be in second place in
Yep.
the Mountain West. So huge game here. Fresno State was favored by 3, I believe, when it came out. Now they're at 2.5.
Ooh.
No, I always like getting your perspective. Just I have a Fresno State podcast called Beware of Bulldogs. If you're from Beware of Bulldogs, hey, thanks for tuning in. And we've talked about it. We have our preview out. But what, from an outsider's perspective, the other side of the nation perspective, what do you think needs to happen in this game, and how are you looking at this game?
Well, I see two teams that I don't think are incredibly consistent this year. I don't think Fresno State
Yeah.
or Boise are super consistent. Boise State lost to Colorado State 31-30, so like super close, hard fought game. And the next week they went and demolished Wyoming 32-7. And Wyoming is probably out of those two teams the better team.
We're
So
going to find out tonight.
so Boise State and Fresno State, and Fresno State lost to Wyoming and has kept almost all their games really close, except for three
I've
games.
lost a lot of I've lost a lot of hair this year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you 1 touchdown games to UNLV, Utah State, Eastern Washington, and Purdue, and Wyoming, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
All those games are they're real stressful, real nail biters. Um,
Who do you have
but,
winning this game? It's a tough
I
one,
don't
isn't it?
want to pick against Fresno State. I don't want to.
And I will say this, just for your information and the listeners' information, if you have not listened to Beware of Bulldogs, Boise State plays with 2 quarterbacks. They have a 2-quarterback system. They run in and out, but it hasn't hurt them in the past. That's because they have an amazing running game. They have 3 very good running backs. 2 will be in the NFL. George Holani and Ashton Jainty, they will be in the NFL. Their other one is a super fast freshman. So they look very good. Their O-line is very good. Offensively, other than their quarterback, they are pretty good. And defensively, they've stopped most teams. And when you play Washington, it's pretty tough. UCF is pretty tough. And Colorado State, they toss the ball around the yard a lot. So, and they're good at it. What's your pick?
Here's my question.
Okay.
Here's my question for you. How much faith do you have in Mikey Keene?
I think, okay, so Mikey King's coming off a sprained ankle like 4 weeks ago. He sprained his ankle 4 weeks ago, I believe. And, a sprained ankle takes a long time to heal. He definitely wasn't 100% against UNLV. I am a little concerned, not based off of his, if he's healthy or not. I'm actually more concerned if he can make the right reads and execute, because he struggled. He's been inconsistent in the past. And I have to also talk about our offensive coordinator. I can't put all the blame on Mikey. So our offensive coordinator and Mikey are working together. Mikey's a redshirt sophomore. He started at UCF, but it's a different team, different coaching style, things like that. He gets a lot of looks where linebackers are in zone, taking away the short intermediate passing game, and we've struggled to get decent yardage on that. He likes to check the ball down or hit a short slant route, but once they figure that out, then there's a lot of turnovers that happen. So when it comes to trusting Mikey Keene or having faith in Mikey Keene, I'll put 80%. I don't remember exactly how you worded your question, but um,
I gotcha.
80% because Mikey Keene is physically able to do it. He is on a kind of a bum ankle, and then it is going to depend on the looks that the Boise State defense gives him, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, and so that was my point, was how Mikey Keene performs is, once again, last week I talked about Fresno State. Their path to victory was through the air, was through the quarterback position and
Oh no,
throwing the ball well. And
we
once
cannot run the ball.
again, yeah, no, you do not want to be running the ball. Not against
Well,
Boise, and
we do want to run the ball, but we just can't.
well,
We
sure, but I'm saying this week you don't want to be running the ball. Just because Boise's defense, the ways that they have been, gashed, have been good combined attacks, really, but
I agree.
overwhelming air attacks help a lot. I think that's how Colorado State beat them. Was they had 359 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air, and they had 51 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. So big difference there. Wyoming
They like
lost
to
to
run the
them
ball.
because they had 0 production in the passing game. 0 production in the passing game. 85 yards total. If Fresno State can produce in the passing game, they win this game. And I think they
Okay.
can. So I'm going to take Fresno State, and I'm going to take Fresno State to cover because it's a 2.5 point difference.
Yeah,
So
I am
be
as well.
crazy if they didn't.
I rarely pick against the dogs. This one took a lot of thinking and conversation because this is a good Boise team. But yeah, I'm going to take the dogs, and I'm actually taking them by a touchdown in this game. I think our defense has struggled in the past, but our defense has struggled against teams that pass the ball, and we've done a pretty good job of stopping the run for the most part the past couple of years, other than the one time we played Boise last year when they ran for like 400 yards on us. So we'll see what happens this year. Our linebackers are very good, though, at stopping the run, coming up and making a hit, and we do have a good safety that can do that as well. So I would like to say that this game goes in the dog's way. But I think this is a coin flip. And if I'm a better, I'm staying away from it. All right, now let's talk about your Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs. You have a big game against Missouri on Saturday. Missouri has an opportunity here to kind of make a claim for itself as one of the top teams in the SEC. They're 7-1 right now, 3-1 in the SEC. That a lot of people have talked about their quarterback and their wide receivers. Shoot, ESPN put me on TV, my tweet on TV, because I tweeted about Missouri. Uh, thank you,
Yeah.
SEC Network and ESPN. But well, I'll let you start on this one as well. Georgia, 15.5 point favorite here. Are you feeling confident in this game, or is this kind of the first game where you're thinking, we need to lock down and put these guys away? They're ranked 12 in the country.
I do think we need to lock. This is a game that if we're not focused, we lose, right? Because it's a good team, and this is where you see really good teams lose to teams that aren't quite as good as them. It's when they come up against a good team and they aren't focused, and they play undisciplined, whatever, and it falls apart. Now, that being said, I don't think that Georgia will. Kirby is very good at making his guys step up to competition level. Last year we almost lost to Missouri, and they weren't
Mhm.
that great of a team last year. Um, I do think they are a much better team this year. Brady Cook has been playing really, really well. In fact, even their running backs have been playing well. But it's to me, I'm actually going to take Georgia and I'm going to take Georgia to cover the 15.5 points.
Wow. Okay.
I think this is going to look a lot like last week's game against Florida. I think Missouri is a similar skill level team to Florida, and that might sound crazy given that
Yeah.
Florida's number 12 in the nation, and Missouri's number 12 in the nation, and Florida's 5-3. But that's what I think. So I think it's gonna be about, I'm gonna say, about the same score line as against Florida. That could be wrong. Missouri's a better team than Florida, not by much,
Yeah.
I don't think, but they are a
I
better
think
team. So
I think it's really important that Georgia defense wakes up and shows up for this game because Cook, Schrader, Burden. Schrader's their Missouri running back. Burden is the Missouri wide receiver who's been tearing people apart. They don't want to be beat. The Georgia defense does not want to be beat by them. They know about these guys. It was a close game last year. They don't want that to happen. I do think Missouri covers. I think it's a 12-point game. They kick a field goal at the end or they score a late touchdown and it's a 10-point game. So I would say double digits, but Georgia does win this game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch Beck and Cook do their work, and I think it's going to be the key factor. I think it's going to be a battle in the trenches, of course, as always, but more focused around the offensive line. Who can keep their quarterback up the longest? And we know Brock Bowers isn't there,
right.
but there's lots of
But
other
hey,
weapons that he has.
I don't know if you saw Delp last week make that
I
crazy
did.
one-handed catch.
Yeah, everyone's saying Bowers who, but yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
still
no,
want
Georgia,
Bowers back.
right.
But
I mean, but Georgia has freaks all over the field. Next man up for
yeah,
sure. But so it's going to be that, what D line can get pressure on the quarterback and force him to make quick decisions and tough throws, and what O line is able to cancel that out. So, and I think Georgia has the guys to do that.
yeah.
All right, the next game is Kansas State, Texas. Kansas State, Texas is one of the top 25 matchups this week. And it's Texas 7, Kansas State ranked 23. It's in Texas. Texas is favored by 3.5. Josiah, where are you going with this?
This is an interesting game because Kansas State. I actually think Kansas State's a little overrated. They've blown out TCU and Houston the last 2 weeks, and they beat UCF. But the only two kind of competitive teams they played this year are Oklahoma State and Missouri, and they lost both those games. That doesn't mean I think they're bad. I'm just not sure they're deserving of a top 25 spot. So that being said, I will be taking Texas, and I will be taking Texas to cover the 3.5 points. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a in between 1 and 2 touchdown game, and it's. I think Kansas State has a chance, but I think Texas should win this. So I think they will.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I don't think it's close. I think this is another double-digit win by the favored team. Texas should handle Kansas State. I understand Kansas State has a good defense from what we've seen, but I feel like you, Josiah. I think this team is a little bit overrated. Um, that you haven't faced anybody like Quinn Ewers and Xavier Worthy yet, and Brooks, the running back at Texas, is a stud. I just don't think that the Kansas State offense and Will Howard can keep up with Texas offense. So sign me up for the over on this as well on Kansas State, Texas. But I'm taking Texas by double digits, and I'm going to take the over here. Next on the docket,
Sounds good
Texas
to me.
A&M, Ole Miss. this is part of my upsets. Ole Miss is
All
favored
right.
by 3 points. They are 10 in the country. Look, and I put my upsets on Twitter, so you can follow me there and give me heck for all this. I understand Texas A&M is not that great of a football team, but they have the athletes. If they put it together, they're a decent football team. The problem is they don't put it all together every game.
Right.
Ole Miss has some good players. Judkins, I really like. Jackson Dart, I really like. Their defense is strong. So is Texas A&M's defense, by the way. So I think I'm going to take Max Johnson.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, did it cut out?
Yeah.
Okay, Max. I said I don't know where it cut out, but Max Johnson is going to lead this team, and he wins this game for Texas A&M. That's one of my upset picks.
I definitely think that's a reasonable upset pick. I am still going to take Ole Miss, but excuse me. But I'm still going to take Ole Miss to beat them, and I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover. Once again, 3-point game. That's so close. But
Stay away from these games. Anything under 3 and under, stay away.
yeah, that's a rough thing to pick because it's super annoying. But UCLA, or sorry, UCLA. What? Texas A&M. I saw UCLA on my screen and I said the wrong thing. Texas A&M is a good team. They can play competitively. They have a lot of really good players, right? And their biggest problem is making those players develop and perform. And by the way, if you're a top recruit, do not go play for Jimbo Fisher. Do not do it. He's super good. He's super good at getting you to want to come play for him. He is not super good at getting you to be successful in the NFL. So don't go play for him. Go play for anyone else. QBs, someone go play for Tedford, for crying out loud. Please.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is not the guy. This is not the guy. That being said, they've played 3 teams that they've lost to. They played Miami, Alabama, and Tennessee. Ole Miss also lost to Alabama, and Ole Miss's loss was worse than Texas A&M's. I mean, that's the thing. These are 2 good teams. Texas A&M could win. They have a lot of really good players, as I said. It's all about if they get out there and they perform because they're so inconsistent. And
Right.
I think I'm going to have to take Ole Miss for that reason. But
Mm-hmm. I'm
Texas
just
A&M
banking
has a
on
shot.
I'm banking on Texas A&M finally. What is one of these games where they wake up. All right, next game that we're going to talk about: Notre Dame Clemson. Notre Dame is only a 3-point favorite over this 4-4 Clemson team that we talked about early in the year, Josiah, where we had a segment where we talked about, is it time to panic for Clemson? And we said, yeah, it's definitely time to panic. This is before everything went down because nobody was talking about Clemson and everybody wanted to talk about Bama and freaking out about Bama.
Right.
Where I'm actually shocked. The over-under set at 44.5. That's understandable. Both of these defenses are very good. I think it's going to be low scoring. But Notre Dame to be favored by 3, I think is kind of a slap in the face to Notre Dame. They've played well other than that Louisville game. And Sam Hartman is a good quarterback. And Estime is a great running back. They can do a lot of damage. I think Notre Dame crushes Clemson. And then there's some serious conversations about Dabo. And by the way, I've talked to people on the inside in some areas. The Clemson athletic department is not doing well. So I'm sure that is adding to Dabo's frustrations right now. And when they get blown out by Notre Dame, it's going to get real bad. What are your thoughts on this game?
I no, absolutely agree. This is going to be Clemson's. It's either going to be their worst loss of the season, or it's going to be tied with the Duke loss, because that was actually they lost that one 28-7, so not particularly close.
Man, I miss
Um,
Riley Leonard right now. I miss Riley Leonard.
but yeah, Notre Dame wins this. It's not close. Notre Dame covers. It shouldn't be close at the very least. Um, so that's my pick. I'm going with Notre Dame to cover.
Okay, there is no line on this game, Josiah. It's Sam Houston, 0-8, the only team in Division One college football right now that does not have a win. But they are going up against an FCS school, Kennesaw State, who is moving to the FBS soon. They're 2-5. Does Sam Houston get their first win Saturday against Kennesaw State?
Sam Houston get their first win. Man, poor Sam Houston. Man, look, it's rough, right? Moving from FBS to FCS to FBS. Sorry, uh, it's it's hard. It's hard. We know it's hard because it's a different level of competition.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
but
James
unfortunately,
Madison handled it slightly differently than Sam Houston.
that's what I was going to
um,
say.
yeah. Look, Sam Houston, they have actually kept a few of their games pretty
Mhm.
close. Specifically, FIU, UTEP, Liberty, and Jacksonville State. Those are all one touchdown games
Okay.
or less. And it was
I think the Liberty game, keeping it close, Jacksonville State game, those are two decent teams to keep it close against. But Sam
sorry.
Houston, Sam Houston will win this game.
Sorry, there's something loud going on in my house. It's my washer. Um, I thought it was a truck or something. No, I'm with you. This is Sam Houston's first win. Kennesaw State, they have only played FCS teams so far up to this point, I believe, and they're 2-5. Sam Houston absolutely should put this team away, get their first win of the season. They are still winless in the FBS, but at least there will be a 1. At least there will be a 1 next to that 8.
It'll
Uh,
be huge for them to get this win. They need
yes.
this confidence. They can, kind of use it as a restart and go win some conference games. I really would like to see Sam Houston get this win. At the same time, I love upsets and underdogs. So if when an FCS team is taking on an FBS team, if it's not against my team, I'm cheering for the FCS team. And not to mention, this is
Fair.
my NCAA dynasty team, Kennesaw State.
Yes.
So
Oh yes, the wonderful Owls.
yes. So, I'm a little biased towards Kennesaw State, but I would love to see an 0-8 Sam Houston finally get their first win. Moving on to the next game, Josiah. A very interesting matchup here. Arizona State goes to Salt Lake City, Utah to play the Utah Utes, ranked number 18 in the country. Arizona State's just coming off a big win over Washington State. They played Washington close. They've, recently been playing good football. Do you think there is, by the way, Utah 10.5 point favorite, over under 40.5. Do you think Arizona State stands any chance in this game? And then give me the line where you have it.
So obviously, yeah, line is 10.5 for Utah, and man, that's a big line for two teams that I feel are a lot closer together than that line makes it sound like. Um, Arizona State, just to remind everybody, the first 4 games of the season, they played Southern Utah, won, then lost to Oklahoma State, then lost 29-0 against Fresno State.
And
And
had like
at
eight
that,
turnovers. Eight
yeah, and
turnovers.
at that point, the head coach, I believe, took over play calling duties. He's a young coach. After that, they lost 42-28 to USC, and then they just kept improving from there. They lost to Cal, lost to Colorado, lost to Washington, but they kept all those games close. And then last week they beat Washington State, big win, 11-point win, huge for them. And honestly, I see them improving once again and upsetting the Utah Utes. It's pretty insulting to Arizona State to put this at 10.5. I get that they're like 2-6, but guys, look at what they've done. They went from 29-0 to Fresno State to almost beating Washington and beating Washington State.
Yeah,
they should have beat Washington.
Yeah. No, this Arizona State
taking
team
Arizona on this one. Arizona
nice. State. Okay, I like it. To win the game, not to cover. To win the game. I mean, they would cover.
Correct. Yeah, to win the game. Yep.
I've been going back and forth this whole time with this game because I think this is a sneaky game. I'm going to take Arizona State to cover, but I'm going to take Utah to win the game. And also put me down for the under, Josiah, on this game. Both defenses are very good. The running game is pretty good at Arizona State. Same with Utah. So I think possessions are going to take a long time. Time of possession is really going to matter in this game. I don't believe Utah's offense is good enough to separate from Arizona State. We saw two really good offenses in the Washington schools, Washington and Washington State, struggle against this defense. Washington is one of the top offenses in the country, and they put up 15 points on Arizona State and should have lost and actually had to rely on a pick six to win the game.
Yep.
Then with Washington State, they throw the ball all over the yard just like Washington. They lost. This Utah offense is way worse than both of those. Way worse. But the difference is their defense is probably top 3 in the country, in my opinion. And they're so tough. So that's what's going to keep them. That's what's going to win them this game. Josiah, this game, 17-7, Utah. I mean, sign me up for the under here. I think that the Utah defense is so good, they'll probably have an interception and have it to take a 2-score lead, but that's it. Like, this game is real close. And I say that, but I would not be surprised at all if Arizona State wins this game.
Yeah. I mean, statistically speaking, Arizona State's offense is better, but their defense is worse. And I think that their defense is good enough to at least balance out the I think it's a pretty even match in terms of like offensive and defensive matchups.
Yeah.
Where Utah's got a really good defense, but not that great of an offense, and Arizona has a pretty good offense, but maybe they're more suspect on defense than Utah, but it doesn't matter because Utah's a lot more suspect on the offensive side of the ball. So, to me, it balances out. I think this is a very evenly matched game. Obviously, I have to take Arizona State on to cover. But if they were favored by any more than like 3, I couldn't do that. It's going to be a close game. And it could go either way to me.
Yeah. This one isn't on our sheet of paper, Josiah, but just real quick, it's a battle of the underdogs that have, upset some teams. Georgia Tech, Virginia, in Virginia. Virginia is a 2.5-point favorite. Just give me a winner here. Who you got?
Oh,
it's a great game.
That actually is a great game, and I might have to watch that game because it should be a really entertaining game. To remind everybody, both of these teams beat North Carolina. And I'm taking Georgia Tech again.
Yeah, I am too. I'm taking Georgia Tech. They're the underdog here, so there's an upset for us.
Yeah.
All right.
It's rough to say, but
next game, the big one that everyone's talking about, Bedlam in Oklahoma. Number 9 Oklahoma takes on number 22 Oklahoma State. Oklahoma is a 6-point favorite. The over-under 61.5. So I hear a lot of people talking about man, Oklahoma State's really got a chance. And I understand why people saying that because Oklahoma's just coming off a loss to Kansas. I'm going to say this. Oklahoma crushes Oklahoma State. Give me Oklahoma -6. They're going to win by 2 to 3 touchdowns. I think they smoke them.
I think that's very possible. Oklahoma, they just lost to Kansas. And by the way, we picked that wrong. Never been so happy to be wrong. Love that win. I love this Kansas team. I love to see them succeed. But that being said, Oklahoma's the better team here. Oklahoma is better than Oklahoma State. That is 100% true, despite the fact that Oklahoma State beat Kansas and Kansas beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the better team, but I'm taking this to be a 3 or 4 point game. I'm going to take Oklahoma to win, not to cover.
Got it. I like it. So we're taking opposite games. All right. Now let's talk about the team that upset Oklahoma. That is Kansas playing Iowa State. For some reason, I cannot find this. There we go. Iowa State is a 2.5 point favorite over number 21 Kansas. Do you think, and it's, by the way, it's in Ames, Iowa. Do you think Kansas can, quote, upset Iowa State here? Either way you put this is an upset. Whoever wins.
Can Kansas upset Iowa State? Man, I'm having a hard time finding this game too.
Well, I mean, we know Jalen Daniels is still out. He's going to be out for some time. We've been told. I mean, that's what I saw. Who knows though? Because we know coaches like to keep their lips sealed on all this stuff. At the time of recording right now, Bean is going to be the starter. I like what I saw from Bean. There's no reason for me to pick against Kansas in this game. I know Iowa State is always tough. They have a pretty good quarterback in Becht. Their defense is solid all the time, but I like the Kansas offense. They have a solid defense. I'm going to take Kansas, and it's going to count as an upset here.
I mean, yeah, literally either way we pick this game, it's an upset. Kansas is number 21, and Iowa State's favored to win. I don't know why Iowa State's favored to win. And the only time I've said this before, we were wrong. But I don't know why they're favored to win. To me, Kansas seems like the better team. I like Kansas to win here, and I'm taking them to cover, obviously, because there's nothing else that can happen if they win. But yeah, no, Kansas should win. I think it should be a touchdown to 2 touchdown game, and I think it's a solid win.
Mm-hmm. Top 25 matchup, big time in the Coliseum down in LA, West Coast football. Number 5 Washington takes on number 20 USC. Some of you guys said that people I interact with on X, USC has a good shot to beat Washington. I don't see it. I just don't see it. The amount of point, and Washington's only favored by 3. The over-under 76. I'm staying away from the over-under, but give me Washington -3 every day. Washington's going to score, I think, 200 points this game. And there's no way that USC can keep up. One mistake by Caleb Williams. There's going to be a series where they sack Caleb Williams twice and put him in 3rd and long situation where they can't convert. They punt the ball away. That's game over. Washington wins. Josiah, do you see any other way? And I mean, I think this -3 is a slap in the face to Washington. These Vegas people know way more than I do, but there's no way you're stopping Michael Penix Jr. and his core of wide receivers with that defense. No way.
No, the USC has one of the most suspect defenses in the entire college football landscape. That being said, it's hard for me to pick this because we have now officially entered the spot where USC is no longer, They're no longer this is a top 4 team favored to win every week. They're now an underdog. They're now officially an underdog, and they should have an underdog mindset.
No
They
way.
lost big
No
time
way.
to Notre Dame. They lost to Utah, and they should, by all rights, should have lost to California. And I mean, California lost that game. USC didn't win it. It was so close, and they missed so
Right.
many chances to score an extra 2 to 3 points. It was hard to watch. Hard to watch. Super fun to watch, but hard to watch at the same time. I can't pick USC. I have a feeling that USC has a better chance to win this week than they do against Oregon or UCLA. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I do have that
Defense.
feeling.
Defenses.
Defense. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's the defenses. Because it doesn't matter what offense it is, they're scoring against USC. It doesn't matter. The only the offense that maybe wouldn't would be Iowa.
Yeah.
And
Love to see that game. I'd love to see that game.
that would be the best game in the world. Oh my gosh. But that's the only team. That's the only team that wouldn't be scoring on this USC team. Anybody who plays them is going to score like crazy. But Washington's defense, I think, is spottier than Oregon's or
Yeah.
UCLA's. So this is the best chance USC has for a win for the rest of the season. And I'm gonna take Washington still. I'm gonna take Washington still. I almost
All
took
right.
them, but I can't. I can't.
How about the other team on the other side of the country that reminds me of USC a little bit? That's LSU. Great offense, not a good defense. They are traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on number 8 Bama. This is a huge game, and Alabama's a 3-point favorite here. I think this game is going to be a lot closer, than the Washington USC game because Bama's offense is suspect, in my opinion. But I can't trust the LSU defense, even if Milrose struggles. And I don't think he will struggle that bad. I think that he can keep up with this LSU offense. And, then there's the question, Jane Daniels is an absolute beast, but what does the Bama defense do to him? It's not a bad defense, but can Alabama offense keep up with the LSU offense? I think they can. I'm going to take Bama -3. No, I'm going to take LSU to cover, but I'm going to take Alabama to win. So I think it's a 3-point game or less.
So this is something that we've seen LSU's defense fold to good offenses. For sure, we've seen that. Against Ole Miss, they let up 55 points. Against Florida State, they let up 45 points. Against Arkansas, they let up 31. And against Missouri, they let up 39. That's a lot of points against. That is a lot of points against. But against more suspect offenses, they've performed all right. Auburn, they only let up 18. Mississippi State, 14. Army, none.
Okay, bro.
That's just a bad offense. It's my bad. Alabama, this actually has potential to be an upset pick. This has potential to be an upset because LSU's offense, if they perform at a regular level, can score on Bama's defense. Bama is no juggernaut this year. They can score on Bama. The question is, can Bama score on LSU? And I'm gonna take LSU. Alabama should win this game, but I'm gonna take LSU. I for the fun of it, to be honest, but because I think they have a shot. I think they have a shot. If LSU's defense can get out there, get a few stops, and their offense plays like normal, they win.
UCLA, Arizona. Arizona coming off a big win over Oregon State. UCLA is ranked number 19 in the country. Good, very good defense. UCLA is a 2.5-point favorite. Another close game. 50.5-point total for the over-under. This is a really hard game for me to pick, Josiah. You got the Arizona Oregon State game right. That was one of your upset picks, I believe.
Yeah.
Can Arizona do it again? Can they beat this UCLA team, who is very good defensively?
Man, this one's tough for Arizona.
It's in
UCLA,
Arizona. In
yeah,
Arizona.
yeah. UCLA is a better team than Oregon State. UCLA is a better team than Washington State. That's
Ooh.
that's my opinion. They beat Washington State and lost to Oregon State. I still think UCLA is better.
This game's tough, man.
I could see Arizona hanging with them, but I'm going to take UCLA to win.
I am
And
too.
I'm going to take them to
Defenses win championships. Defense wins championships. I'm taking UCLA on this one, -2.5. I'm debating the over or under. I took the under against Colorado, the UCLA Colorado game, and it hit big time. I'm going to take the under again here with UCLA Arizona. So lock me in there. And then the last two games I want to talk about: Marshall, App State. Big game in the Sun Belt. App State is a 3.5-point favorite, but I'm going to take Marshall to win the game. That's one of my upset picks. Marshall plus 3.5. Hey, what are your thoughts on this Marshall App State game? You can just give me a winner if you want.
I'm going to take App State.
Okay.
I like App State to win.
And then last but not least, another fun. There's a lot of good Fun Belt games. Georgia Southern, Texas State is a great game. Two high, potent offenses. Georgia Southern favored by 2. But I'm going to go to the next, probably the most fun game in the Fun Belt this weekend is James Madison, 8-0, heads to Atlanta, Georgia, your neck of the woods, Josiah, to play Georgia State. James Madison is a 5.5-point favorite. Does James Madison continue the winning ways? Will they be undefeated Sunday, Josiah?
Yes, they will. I love me some James Madison football, baby, and I think they can continue their win against their winning streak against the Panthers. I like James Madison a lot. I'm taking them to win.
I agree. I'm taking James Madison -5.5. All right. Now that Brian Ferentz has been told he's done this year, Josiah, I have a feeling they're going to score a lot of points. Brian Ferentz is going to score a crap ton of points. They play Northwestern this weekend. I don't need a winner, but I just, we've talked about for about 2 years now, the Ferentz deal at Iowa, and it's finally, it's not over, but it's kind of over. Is there a sigh of relief for you? You've been loud a lot of the time whenever we talk about this. It's finally over.
Yeah, he's on his way out the door. He's standing on the threshold. All that's left is that final tap out. And yes, absolutely, every Iowa fan should be heaving the hugest sighs of relief of their life. It's like, oh my gosh, a weight is lifted. Like, we have a shot. Let's see who they hire, but we have a shot. They have a good defense. They have the worst offense in college football. And I saw a lot of people arguing over the weekend because a sports account on Instagram posted not one single Big Ten West offensive coordinator would keep their job if they all had Brian Ferentz's contract stipulations. Not a single Big Ten West offensive coordinator would keep their job. None of them are averaging 25 points a game. None of them. Now,
It
that
was
doesn't tell me.
Bud Elliott. Bud Elliott was the one that put it out.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. But my point isn't. I think that does not show us that these contract stipulations were too hard. It shows us the Big Ten West has really bad offenses, and somehow Iowa is the worst of those, despite being a better team, held up only by their defense, and defense wins championships. So that's why they're winning. That's why they're top of the Big Ten West, and their offensive coordinator needs to get fired. They need to do their research, hire a good OC, and
Not gonna
if
happen.
they do, when they do, they start winning a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm happy for Iowa quarterbacks and wide receivers.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens with their tight ends because that's a pipeline to the NFL if you're a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing when it comes to college football, and then we'll jump into the NFL. We had a Thursday night football game, and we'll talk Sunday games. The 10 schools leaving the Pac-12, Josiah, are, quote, concerned that Oregon State and Washington State will keep total control of the conference board and could uphold the revenue distribution after this season. And all I have to say about that is good for you, Oregon State and Washington State. Keep all the revenue distribution. Screw those other schools. This is what they deserve. I think it's hilarious that they come in and say those things. We're leaving, but we want our money. Pull what Gloria Nevarez did to San Diego State. San Diego State said, we want our money. Gloria, commissioner of Mountain West, said, nope, you're leaving. Pay me. Pay the Mountain West. You're not holding up your end of the bargain. So I think that Oregon State and Washington State should do everything in their power to screw over the other schools. I'm sorry if you're a part of those other schools, but you're leaving the conference and a good, fun conference. I don't care. Get your money, Pac-12. Get your money, Oregon State, Washington State. Don't distribute any money. Keep total control of the conference board. Kick them all out. Whatever you can do. I can't stand these other schools. And then the audacity for them to say they could uphold the revenue distribution. Yeah, we're going to because you left. Sorry, go cry about it.
I mean, look, I these teams can do what they want to do, but I'm with you in that, okay, you have freedom to leave if you want, but we're not going to pay you if you leave us. Like, do I think everyone should leave? Yes, I think everyone should leave. The whole NCAA. I think the NCAA should be done away with. I don't think the current situation is good. It's going in a bad way, and all this conference realignment, all the NIL stuff. I think we've gone to a really weird spot in college football right now where we're trying to be like a mini NFL, and it's never going to work because it's just a different game. But I am absolutely with you. Dude, if they're going to go out there, they're going to talk bad about Oregon State, Washington State. Oh, I think they're going to do this. Oh, I think the Pac-12 is going to do this. Yeah, do it. Do it, bruh. They're leaving. They don't deserve money from you don't go to your boss and say, "Hey, I'm quitting. Pay me for the next year." No. And if there was a contract, if you had a contract, you can't just go and say, "Hey, I'm quitting." That's not how that works.
You
So,
can. You can.
well, I mean, it depends on the
Severance.
contract. It depends on the contract.
Yeah. And you could get paid 2 weeks after you get fired for 2 weeks or something, or you turn in your 2 weeks and they could pay you, or if you get fired, they pay you severance, something like that. But I mean, that's
right.
I think I don't believe in paying someone if they turn it like this. It's kind of like these teams turned in their 2 weeks, right, for a job. and they're saying, "Pay, I'm quitting, but pay me for the next 2 weeks. I'll train somebody or something like that." This you could kind of say is like that, but when there's millions and millions of dollars involved and you are completely screwing over two teams, you're they're not even thinking about Oregon State and Washington State. Like what have you done to Oregon State and Washington State? You Because they're complaining about, well, if we don't get our revenue distribution, this is really going to hurt our athletic programs. Do you know what you've done to Oregon State and Washington State? You've hurt our programs because now we got to go find games now. You left us out to dry. So
Yeah,
what
these Pac-12 teams are getting screwed over by this realignment real bad.
yeah, and there's at some point you got to talk about, loyalty and things like that, and just more okay, morally maybe it's not right to hold the revenue distribution, hold them ransom, but in my opinion, there's no, like, give me a reason why I should pay you. You didn't do anything for me. You're hurting me. Why should I pay you? Right? At least if I quit my job or I turn in my 2 weeks, I can help you train someone. You're not going out and grabbing other teams and helping me. You're not doing anything for me. So you know what? No, I'm not paying you. Keep that revenue distribution money, Oregon State and Washington State.
Right.
And I will say
my
go ahead. Go ahead. And
my point earlier was my point earlier was that this is what they're doing is the equivalent of walking up to your boss saying, "I'm not putting in my 2 weeks. I'm quitting. Pay me severance."
Right. And luckily for you, if you're quitting, I think they're legally obligated to. I don't know.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they have to. Yeah, I don't think they have to. Maybe it depends on what state you're in, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I will say this. There was a meeting with Washington State and Oregon State, and they came out and said, I wish I had it in front of me. I saw it last night. They would like to stay in the Pac-12, quote Pac-12, and then make an alliance sort of deal with the Mountain West.
Right.
I don't like that. Right. So you're going to keep the branding of the Pacific Athletic Conference. So you're going to be the Pac-2. Try to keep all the money. I don't know if you're going to keep a network or what you're going to do. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you do that and then make an alliance with the Mountain West? Just bring the Mountain West in. I mean, I'm a little biased because Fresno State's in the Mountain West, and I love the Mountain West, by the way. But I think that's because they're trying to tell everybody you're going to keep your job. Everybody on the board, everybody that works for the Pac-12 right now, you're going to keep your job. We're going to keep the Pac-12 all together, and then we're just going to make an alliance with another conference to keep things together. But I don't think that's the best option, right? My wife says to me, what's the next right thing? Whenever we have to make decisions, let's just do the next right thing. To me, the Pac-12, keeping that to making an alliance with the Mountain West is not the next right thing. You need to, I think, merge.
I saw something very interesting just now, and I don't think this is likely, but there are people online, and this is the first time I've seen people talking about this concept outside of the world of Premier League soccer. Other than us, this is the first time I've seen someone talking about it in a different sport. There are people talking about the possibility of promotion relegation between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West,
That's
where
dumb.
the
That's so
top
dumb.
two teams move up and I 100% agree. That is really dumb because technically then Mountain West teams could still get into the playoff, but then that's just no, that won't happen. But it's really weird. I don't understand why they don't just merge. Like, do I like the branding of the Mountain West better than the branding of the Pac-12? 100%. I love that MW. I love that logo. I don't know if it's just because I've grown up, seeing it all the time or what.
The logo.
But like the Mountain West. I like the name. I like
Sure.
the whole vibe of the Mountain West better than I like the Pac-12. But
There's just
yeah,
no
no,
money
everyone's freaking
behind
leaving
it.
the Mountain. I mean, everyone's leaving the Pac-12, and I don't like Pac-12 anymore. So
Y
go join the
Well, it's
Mountain
been
West or merge them. Be the Pac West. I don't know.
y yes, I agree. The
The Mountain
Pac-West needs to
12.
come back. It needs to come back. I mean, we saw corrupt people in the Pac-12, and they just ruined it. There's more money in it, though. That's the only thing. There's more money in it, and that's what they don't want to lose that. But there's better leadership in the Mountain West. Gloria Nevarez would save your schools, Oregon State, Washington State, save your athletic programs. She's that good. And
Take all that
I mean,
revenue distribution, take it over to Mountain West,
there we go.
make it go up.
And who doesn't want a national championship, a national basketball championship contender in San Diego State? By the way, Boise's good. New Mexico's good. Colorado State's going to be good this year. Fresno State's going to be better this year. Mountain West is a great basketball conference, too. You need them. You need them. That's basically what I'm saying.
That's true. Football
All
is
right.
not the only thing to consider here.
Right. Okay. Also, baseball. Oregon State has a great baseball team. Fresno State, Air Force, San Jose State, really good baseball programs. Okay, I'll stop there. Let's move on to the NFL. So during Thursday night football last night between the Titans and the Steelers, I'm sitting there, and the Titans were winning, and they most likely should have won. Then the Steelers got the ball with, I think, at like the 9-minute mark and went on like a 90-yard drive with Kenny Pickett and to score, take the lead, and win the game. But throughout the entire game, I felt way more confident in rookie Will Levis, who got his first start last night and played the entire game. I felt way more confident in Will Levis than Kenny Pickett. I don't know if that is, I'll put it this way. We typically see the first start with a rookie or anyone's first start go decently well because no one has film on them. They don't know their tendencies and what they do, and they're just kind of going out there having fun slinging it. Now, Will Levis has film out there. People are going to pick on him a little bit. But I am way more confident in Will Levis than Kenny Pickett, and I think that's because of, and I hear a lot of people say this, Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator for the Steelers.
That's fair.
I will say this, though. I will say this. If George Pickens doesn't screw me over in fantasy and drag and step out of bounds where he could just drag his foot, he had about 6 feet of room. And he still only got 1 foot in. Kenny Pickett looks a lot better, right? If guys, Deontay Johnson had some drops. He had a good game, though. I mean, I think guys could have helped him out a lot more, and Kenny Pickett would be in a different situation. We'd be having a different conversation. But after that game, I feel a lot more confident in Will Levis than I do Kenny Pickett, and I'm excited for Will Levis. Now, the other thing I'll say is Will Levis should start the rest of this season. There's no reason for Ryan Tannehill to come back in this season. You're 3-5. You're not. I don't think you're making the playoffs. Let Will Levis play, get some snaps, get some experience.
I agree with that 100%. Thursday night football, yeah, it wasn't the most interesting game in the world, but it was fairly interesting just due to this quarterback battle. And yeah, I don't think either quarterback performed to where they probably would have wanted to, but
Right.
yeah, I agree. I think Will Levis is actually the better quarterback, and I think he needs to get the start for the rest of the year. I think he actually might give them the best chance of the quarterbacks they've got. So
That's true. All right, let's move on to some big games around the NFL. Dolphins Chiefs, big time AFC matchup. Chiefs favored by 1.5. I'm staying away from it, but I think with the form that the Chiefs are in, the Dolphins beat them. There's no
I
reason the
agree.
Dolphins should not win this game.
Dude, they just lost to the Broncos.
Yeah.
We all know what happened when the Dolphins played the Broncos. I'm just saying.
Embarrassing. All right, let's go to your hometown team, the Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder is not starting this game. They're going up against the Vikings, and the Vikings don't have their starter, Kirk Cousins. He's out. So battle of the backups with the Vikings Falcons. Both teams are 4-4, I believe. Yes. Who do you think gets the win here? We're not. This is a close game. I mean, a close matchup. Atlanta's actually favored by 3.5 points. Uncertainty at quarterback. Josiah, where are you going in this game?
I'm going to my hometown team. This is not because they're my hometown team at all. I'm actually doing this because I don't know a whole lot about Jaron Hall, but I do know a fair amount about Taylor Heineke.
Uh-huh.
And he is a pretty good quarterback. I like Heineke.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to see him still in a backup position, and I'm also surprised to see him in Atlanta. I actually don't know when that happened. Missed that somehow. I was looking, and I was looking at the starting lineups. I was like, "What? When did he get here? What have I not been paying any attention? Apparently." But yeah, no, I'm down with Heineke. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he actually gives the Atlanta a fairly good chance to win here. I think Atlanta wins it.
I agree. I'm taking the Falcons with you. I'm taking your team. I'm interested to see how long Jaron Hall lasts. They did trade for what's his name? Joshua Dobbs, who is starting for the Cardinals. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the California teams, Los Angeles Rams travel to Lambeau to play the Green Bay Packers. I'm taking the Packers here. Uncertainty at quarterback for the Rams. Stafford's out again. Um, I think Brett Rippon is the quarterback. We'll see who starts. I don't know, but I'm going to take the Packers here. Sorry, Rams. It's just gone downhill, and you got to fight back in your division. Long way to go, but I think Jordan Love's got a lot to prove, and this is his time to do it. So I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers here.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Next game. Thanks for throwing in your input, but 10 minutes later.
No, I'm with Green Bay winning. That my problem is I don't have a lot of input because I agree. The Rams have just been struggling, and so I'm gonna take the Packers.
Derek Carr fans and Jordan Mims fans, Fresno State fans, Saints over Bears. That's an easy one. Saints 8-point favorites. Saints should win. Do we need to say anymore?
Saints should win that. Baltimore should beat Seattle. That shouldn't be close. And
Raiders Giants.
Oh yeah.
Raiders are favored. Jimmy G's not starting. Your head coach, your OC, who never called a play, and your GM are all gone. Hey, I like it. I mean, this is a good game to bounce back on. Last week was tough against the Lions. You're playing a struggling Giants team who's, I believe on their third string quarterback, because Tyrod Taylor got injured. So there you go. We've talked about the curse, and unfortunately, it's not going to be Daniel Jones benefiting from the Tyrod Taylor quote curse. But this is a good game for the Raiders to get a big bounce back win. Antonio Pierce, congratulations on his head coaching job. Devontae Adams should finally get targets. Hunter Renfrow should finally get targets. Aiden O'Connell with the start. I think this is a great way to get the ball rolling again. But we all know the Raiders and their ownership. It's not going to be good. No matter which way this goes.
The way I predict this going, first of all, the Raiders are going to have an amazing win against the Giants. They're going to look really good. They're going to win 3 or 4 more games in a row. And then Mark Davis is going to fire the interim head coach, replace him with a historically terrible head coach that has had a monumental history of failure. And then the Raiders will go right back to their previous ways, because that's what Mark Davis does every single time they have a good coach. He gets rid of them. John Gruden, I know that there was a lot of controversy around him, but he got rid of him. He didn't have to. I mean, let's
People are
be
just
real,
soft.
Mark
People are soft.
Davis. You didn't it's not like your image was being hurt that much. I don't think you got much of an image at this point. So, I don't know why you fire a head coach just because he's hurting your image. Like you weren't forced to fire him. Um
People are
it's
soft.
it's I will say I didn't love what John Gruden was doing, but yeah, it was a rough firing, and they've gone downhill somehow more since, and the McDaniels and that was terrible, but uh, Devontae Adams did say uh,
I'm
he
excited.
said, as I've said countless times, I want to be a Raider. So I want to try and make this work and do everything I can to keep it going now.
Ugh.
But he also said we definitely needed a big change. It was time for some sort of change. And I think that was pretty apparent to everybody. I'm sure it was felt very palpably by Devontae Adams inside of this Raiders organization, where Devontae Adams he's been a Green Bay Packer with one of the greats, one of the QB greats of all time, and he moves to here to play with his buddy. His buddy gets fired because the head coach sucks. Like, yeah, no, I feel so bad for Devontae Adams, and I feel bad for Raiders fans, and I feel bad for Max Crosby, any good players that are on the Raiders, but But, hey, I hope that this interim head coach can come in and play, coach really well. I hope Aiden O'Connell can play really well. And actually, I do think that they should win this week against the Giants. The Giants, they aren't doing very well. But yeah, interesting Raiders organization. And I
Well,
hope they can have better success, but it doesn't look great. You still got the same owner.
last week in Cali's the Chargers. They play Monday night against the Jets. Chargers should win, but we know their struggles, and this Jets defense is very good. I'd love to see the Jets do well, even without Aaron Rodgers. It's been a fun story, but I think the Chargers win this game. They should win this game. And by the way, it is at MetLife. So the Jets home game. It's going to be a good game for sure. But I honestly can't pick a winner right now. I'm going with the Jets. Sorry, Chargers fans. I'm going with the Jets. Quick, Josiah, your winner.
Jets.
Okay. Ooh. Bye week teams. 49ers are on a bye week this week. They need it. That's for sure. But I can't wait to watch Chase Young and Bosa, Nick Bosa, go crazy. Okay. Let's get to the NBA. There's more drama with James Harden already. But it's him between him and the 76ers. He said, I'm not a system player. I am the system. And then Joel Embiid came back and said, dude, we let you do whatever you wanted to do. That's basically the system. You're trying to say that they tried to fit you in their system. This is what I'm talking about. And I talked about it last episode. I'll talk about it again. It just doesn't work with James Harden. It doesn't work.
No,
And and someone saying I am the system is the exact reason why you should not have him on your team.
yeah. No, absolutely not. Dude, there's like 3 players in the league that I think could get away with that, and I might still have them on my team. And even then, I'd be looking for a replacement because that's a toxic mindset. If Nikola Jokic came out and said, I am the system, I'd be like, okay, yeah, you're the system. But there was no reason to say that. Like, yeah, dude, we get it. You're good enough to like carry a team. But that's not something you say. A, a,
Oh,
that's a huge difference. That's one of those things that you'll see in between there's a good player and there's a great player. And what makes the difference? This guy doesn't play with his team. This guy does. Like you pass the ball around, you make a system, you work with everybody to create a system. Yeah. Then that's when you have great success. When you don't do that, you're not going to have great success. And that is why James Harden can't go to a winning organization, because he comes in, he goes, "Oh, I'm a MVP. I've scored lots of points. You have to let me do what I want." And then they're like, "Okay, well, we paid you a lot of money to be here, so do what you want." And then he does what he wants, and it's toxic and crap and terrible, and they lose. And unless the Clippers can get him to realize, "Hey, dude, you aren't the system here. We have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, who's better than you, and Russell Westbrook, who's also probably better than you." So, and higher effort, both of them much higher effort than James Harden.
Oh,
So please,
all of them.
yeah, it's hard not to be higher effort than James Harden. I mean, both you and me, if we were just being graded on like effort levels, we'd be graded higher in the NBA than James Harden by a lot. Guy does not put in work, doesn't put in hours, does not put in effort. It's please, people, stop trading for James Harden. It's not worth it. It's not worth all the picks. It's not worth the headaches.
No,
You're just going to trade him away next year.
And you've wasted a bunch of money. Look, there's 3 guys in the NBA that I would say can come out and say, "I am the system," and I would be okay with. Jokic, and by the way, he is the system, and he makes everyone around him better. That's why he's the system.
Yeah,
because he passes the ball and he can score at will. Steph Curry, the way he plays, he creates the system, right?
Yeah,
he's the best shooter, and then LeBron James, obviously.
Yeah.
Those are the there might be a couple more, but I'm not going to put KD in that, because KD, if he's the system, then we're talking, about whatever team he's on always, and it's just not the case. Those 3 players.
Although the Suns do look good, I will say.
Yes. Anyways, is he on the Suns?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. See, this is my point. Like, KD, either way, James Harden is toxic. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George need to sit him down and say, "Look, brother, this is our team. This is our system. You play our way. That's high intensity defense and physical offense, not fancy ball hog offense and crummy defense." Just no. So they're going to have to do that to actually get somewhere and win the championship, because that's their goal. Also, Wemby had a huge game.
Wembanyama looking as good as people were saying, man. And
I think,
dude,
I mean, when you're over 7 feet tall and you play like that, of course you're going to be that good and impressive. Like I said, when we were going through the draft process, he needs to drink more beer. He just needs to put on more weight, lift weights, drink beer, Wemby, and you will be set for life in the NBA. That's it.
Dude, I will say, he's scary in every possible way out there on that court. You see him running down the court, and you think 2 things. 1, he's about to score on me, and 2, I actually think he's Slender Man. Like, he's terrifying looking out there. He's so big, dude. He doesn't he makes other NBA players look like normal people, and he looks comically large. Like, he's so long, he's so huge, he's so lanky. That guy is massive, dude. And if he puts on some weight, he gets out there like Shaquille O'Neal. That's never gonna happen. That's not possible. But I mean, if he puts on some weight, gain some muscle, stuff like that, that dude is scary.
He's the next "I'm a system" guy.
Yes. No, that is absolutely possible. That is absolutely 100% possible. So excited to see him.
All right, back to the World Series. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers on winning the World Series. I did watch most of this game, but the news is this was the least watched World Series in TV history.
Well,
and Justin and I were talking about this before we hit record. Both of us said no surprise.
No.
I watched one game of the World Series this year, and it was Game 5, the one that they just won. and I didn't watch the
Yep.
entire thing. So
Yep.
you change the rules for baseball to get, I think I also heard that more people attended baseball games this year than any other year, like buying tickets and things like that in general as a whole. But you're not. I don't think that's because you changed the rules. First off, you changed the rules, by the way, for TV, not for the people in the stands. You actually hurt people in the stands, but hey, people attended games, so I guess I don't know. But you changed the rules for TV, and you have the least watch World Series. It may have been because of the teams. If the Phillies made it and the Astros made it, I'm sure a lot of people would have watched. And maybe if it went to 6 or 7 games, more people would have watched. And obviously that's why, because at least watched, you only played 5 games. But it's the World Series. You would think people are tuning into that game. And to have it be the least watched World Series in TV history is sad for the MLB. But once again, no surprise. Do you have any thoughts on that, Josiah?
Not really. The MLB, yeah, I don't think they should have changed their rules around. And
I don't want to
if they
blame
were
it.
gonna change their rules around, I wish that they had changed their rules around in a way that actually made the game more palatable to watch, not in a way that made it more palatable to, advertisers. Like
Right.
think about the people watching, because that's where you actually get your money from. That's the problem, is so many organizations and companies, everything, they even YouTubers, they try to make their product palatable for advertisers, not for consumers, and that's where you go wrong, because
Mhm.
the consumer is what makes the advertiser come to you. If you don't have consumers, then you don't have advertisers. You can have advertisers and no consumers, and then you'll very quickly tank and have no advertisers either. But if you have consumers and no advertisers, you're on the up, you know. So make it better for consumers, not for advertisers. It's very frustrating to see that happening both in college football, in baseball, and every
All
and
sports.
yeah, all sports. It's very frustrating, and I wish they would not do that. It's not smart, and I think a lot of these leagues and things like that, if they continue in the direction they're going, we will eventually either see the twilight of these leagues or replacement leagues or something like that. But
Yeah, I
we shall
agree.
see.
I don't want to blame it on the rule changes of baseball. I'm just going to blame it on the
That's
sport
yeah,
of baseball. I just think that
fair.
the sport of baseball. I'm sorry, baseball fans, but it's it's not grabbing younger fans. It's not.
It's
I
it's
love
not
baseball.
it's not because it's not a sport made for TV. It's not a
No,
sport made for TV, and it's not a high octane sport. We're in a world of constant, every
yeah,
next thing, next
10
thing, next
second
thing,
reels.
and
Yeah,
yeah, dude, and
TikToks.
it's attention spans are worse than ever, scientifically speaking, and uh dopamine hit, just constant dopamine hit after dopamine hit, like you can't be
So dumb.
bored. And I'll tell you this, for those people who maybe don't know this, because I think most people do know this, honestly, but learning to be content in boredom, like learning to be okay with being bored, is one of the best things you can do in life. If, sitting, teach yourself, sit outside, 10 minutes a day. Just sit in, maybe not right now because it's flipping freezing, but sit outside for 10 minutes a day and just enjoy nature. Just make yourself sit there and try as hard as you can to enjoy nature.
Turn
And
off, turn off the phone.
yeah, no, just sit there, no phone. Don't even for 10 minutes, no books, nothing. Just sit there,
Yep.
just enjoy your surroundings, look around, see what's interesting in the world, because there's a lot more interesting things in the world than you realize when you're
And
not, paying attention. and I'm guilty of it too. So,
and that's if people want to enjoy baseball, go do that.
yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I keep going on tangents that have
No,
nothing to do with
I think that's
sports.
very wise, actually. I think that is wise. There's, you know, I think that, there's knowledge that needs to be given. People talk about the difference between wisdom and knowledge and things like that. But, knowledge is, we talk about sports and know a lot about sports. Wisdom, that was wisdom. And I totally agree with that. This world needs more of that. Last but not least, so sorry, baseball fans, we just bash on baseball every time we talk about it. But hey, Aaron Judge coming to Fresno State, I believe this weekend, I think his number's getting retired at Fresno State. About time. The guy's only one of the best MLB players out there right now, so that's kind of cool. But Yeovil Town update. Yeovil Town finally lost, Josiah. They were on a 10-game win streak.
Upsetting.
Now, they were defeated 5-1 by Clevedon Town in the Somerset Men's Premier Cup.
Yeah.
But
which means, by the way, they're still on a streak in the National League North-South. So
yes. Yeah. In this Somerset Men's Premier Cup, they went with their under 18 team. And only 3 of the team's, quote, professionals, because they're technically not professionals until you enter the EFL League 2, but 3 of the team's professionals played. Only 3. The rest were from the under 18 team, along with their coach, who the coach that coached them was the coach of the under 18 team. So, I guess we can come up with all the excuses we want. I'm glad they got the young guys in. They did score a goal against Clevedon Town, but there's still an L next to that, and it did end the streak of wins. But other than that, we're still on a winning streak in the league and still in first. Saturday's game is actually an FA Cup match against Gateshead. I would be surprised if they come out with this under 18 lineup again, because it's the FA Cup games in the FA Cup.
Whoa. Your mic just changed big time.
Wow.
Oh, that's back. It's back. We're good now.
Okay. I don't know what is going on here, but anyways, if you caught all that, Josiah, go ahead. Talk about Yeovil.
No, yeah, I absolutely. FA Cup against Gatehead. Play your best. Play your best. See if you can do something, Yeovil. We are here to support you. We and all of our listeners, not a lot of them, but we're here to support you. And I hope Yeovil can come out and win this match against Gateshead in the FA Cup. Yeah, they're testing out their U18s, and that's good. You got to get some playing time for the young guys. And that's what they're doing. So, credit to Yeovil and credit to those young guys for trying their best against Clevedon. Happens, and on to the next.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check what's going on audio wise, Josiah. But thank you, everybody. I think that's gonna do it for us. You got anything else in the sports world? We're gonna be back on Monday talking about. We're going to recap college football and some other things that have happened around the world, and it should be fun.
Yep.
Yep. Stay healthy. God bless everybody, and we will talk to you later. Make sure you hit that subscribe, comment down below as well. It helps the channel out. See ya.
Yep. See ya.